How to have the perfect ending to your novel. What do you have to put in it? What do you leave out? What can you do to have the greatest ending to your novel? We're going to be answering those questions and more, and we're starting right now. Ask any professional writer, what is the hardest thing to do as a writer? And they'll tell you, writing the last line, the last paragraph. Because in the end, everything you write comes down to that last line. You want to have the greatest ending possible. You want to write scenes leading up that justifies the ending. Because in the end, it is the ending that truly is what writing is all about. You tell a joke. Look at a joke. You tell a joke to make people laugh. It's the punchline. A joke without a punchline, it isn't a joke at all. You would never tell a joke without a punchline. That's where you're building up to. That's where it's going. Same thing with your novel. Everything that you write is all about that final line, that final paragraph, wrapping it all up. Like Shakespeare once said, all's well that ends well. A novel that has a powerful ending is a novel that you're going to remember, you're going to love. It's a book you're going to recommend. If you read a book and it has a very weak ending, chances are, no matter how good the book was at the beginning or the middle, if the end is weak, you're not going to recommend that to anyone. Because writing is all about a train going forward. And what does the train do? It gets to a destination. It comes to a stop. You don't get on a train just to write it for nothing. You're going somewhere. Same thing with your novel. Every scene in your novel is leading to that final ending. You want to have a character arc. You want to have your character starting one way and ending up at another. Look at Gone with the Wind. Margaret Mitchell wrote Gone with the Wind, and she wrote the ending first. You would be amazed at how many great writers will write the ending first. They may not have the ending perfect in their mind at the beginning, but when they sit down to write, they have an idea of where they want to go. They have an idea of where they want to end up. And when you're a writer and you come up with that ending in your mind first, it gives you somewhere to start. It's like shooting an arrow. You're going straight, like an airplane going down the runway. You're going down a straight line, getting faster as you go. You have an objective. Writing that last line can be just as hard as writing the entire novel. But as a writer, when you have the idea of your theme and the character arc in your mind to begin with, that truly can help you write a great novel. You know where you're wanting to end up. Because when you know how it ends and you know the message, the theme, and the character arc, writing your novel can go a lot faster. Ask anyone who's ever written a novel really quickly, and they'll tell you that they had the ending ready to go. They knew where they wanted to end up. They knew the theme. They knew the message. They knew how they wanted the character to start and where the character ended up. Just like Mario Puzo when he wrote The Godfather. We see Michael Corleone starting off nice and happy, wearing the American military uniform. But by the end of the novel, he's cold-hearted. He looks like he has no soul. He looks like the devil. What a character arc that is. And each scene led up to it. As a writer, you don't want to just write randomly. You want to have each. You're not writing a novel. You're writing scenes. That's what you do as a writer. You write scenes. One scene flows into the next, leading to the end. That's what writing is. You're writing one scene to another that will justify the ending, and having the character start at the opposite of who they were, than where they ended up at the end. Your character doesn't have to be good at the end. It can start off as good and end up bad, or bad to good. You don't have to always have a happy ending at the end. Look at Romeo and Juliet. That wasn't a happy ending. It was tragic. But that was the goal that Shakespeare was aiming for. You can have characters happy, you can have characters sad, but that last line is what sums up the novel. Look at Ernest Hemingway. He wrote A Farewell to Arms 47 times trying to get that perfect ending. He could have given up on the 20th, but he didn't want to. He wanted to keep going. because he knew he hadn't hit the nail on the head. And when you do hit the nail on the head, that is what makes someone recommend your book. Think about a movie where a character has a movie is divided into two halves. There is the action and there is the emotion. When a movie ends on action, where the good guy stops the bad guy and the credits roll, you can't help but feel empty, as though the movie didn't offer anything. But when a movie ends on emotion, that is when you feel a connection, because that is what drives the movie. It is the characters, it is the journey, it is their emotion. Action does help sell a movie, it's great, but it is the emotion and the characters that we care about. Think about Harry Potter, the second movie, The Chamber of Secrets. The action ended with Harry battling the snake, but there was about 20 minutes afterwards of dialogue in which the characters wrapped up the movie on an emotional level. If the movie had the credits roll after Harry Potter battled the snake, the movie would have felt empty. But because the movie went on with emotion, this is what made us like the movie at the end. How many times have you been watching a movie where the good guy stops the bad guy and you're thinking, is this the end? But it's not, because if it had been, it would have been a weak movie. But the movie went on with emotion, making you care. Think about Lord of the Rings. Imagine if Frodo had thrown the ring into the Mount Doom and the credits rolled right at that moment. The movie would have felt weak. It would have been not a good ending. But the movie actually went on for about 20 minutes more with emotion, characters, talking. And because that is what sold the whole franchise. Everything about Lord of the Rings was about character. There were action scenes, but it wasn't an action movie. It was a character-driven movie. When you write a novel, you don't want to put characters where the characters have action and then that's it. You say the end. You want to focus more on the characters themselves. Stephen King does this a lot. People think Stephen King writes about monsters, in which a good guy battles some monsters and that's it. But Stephen King writes about people. When you read Cujo, it's not about a rabid dog. It's about a mother and her son trapped in a car, having to battle the rabid dog. We care about the people. The novel took time letting us get to know the characters, so by the time the mother had to deal with the dog, we cared about her. As a writer, you don't want to put action as the thing that's going to sell your novel. It can help make people turn the page, but in the end, it is character. It is that last line. You're building up to something. You're going somewhere with your novel. You want to know where your story starts and where it ends. And you want to add scene after scene of your character experiencing things that's going to change them. We don't want characters changing in the blink of an eye for no reason. This makes for a weak story. You want scenes that justify. Look at The Godfather. Michael started off in the American uniform, and when his father was sought, he found out that the police had betrayed his father, and the police were on the bad guy's side. And Michael began to not trust the American system, the American way. He began to side more with his family, and Michael became colder. After his wife in Italy was killed, he began to shut himself off emotionally. And so by the rest of the novel, Michael no longer feels. He no longer allows himself to care. He believes in the family. He doesn't believe in America. He believes in family. We see the transformation. So by the final scene where Michael is in his office, looking like the devil, his eyes are cold. He looks cold-hearted, wearing a suit and tie, no longer wearing the American military uniform. We have seen the transformation. We believe in it. This is why the final scene in your novel is what it's all about. It doesn't matter if you're writing 10 pages or 1,000 pages. It all comes down to that final scene. That one moment that's going to be that wow factor, the thing that's going to make people recommend your book. You want to hit them with something, but you can't just have something come out of nowhere for no reason. The ending scene has to be justified, and that is what the novel is. This Your entire novel, it's justifying the final line, the final moment. The beginning, middle justifies the end. That is the objective as a writer. Your novel is a bridge from the beginning to the end. And whether or not your character ends up bad, too good, or good to bad, you're bridging the beginning to the end. If you have the ending in mind, you can then create the opposite. Is your character good? Then your character can be bad at the beginning. And what you're doing is you're bridging the two of them together. You want to have the beginning and the end mirror each other in a way. If your character is outside in the sun, like Michael was at the beginning of The Godfather, at the end he is now inside in a dark room. He's smiling at the beginning. In the end, he has no smile. At the beginning, he's wearing the American military uniform. In the end, he's wearing a dark suit. The two of them mirror each other. They're linked. Sometimes you can have a character who's sad in his apartment, and he's on a journey throughout the novel. Then he finds his happiness. He finds his want he finds his need, what he believed to be important, he lets go of, and he embraces what he truly needs. Then he is able to go back to his apartment, look out the window, and smile. At the very beginning, he was looking out the window sad. In the final scene, he is now looking out the window happy. But it just didn't happen randomly. The characters grew, experienced things. They had trials along the way. And by overcoming those trials and learning from them, they then became a better person, leading to that end that is powerful, an emotional end, not one based on action, but based on emotion, in which the beginning and the end are similar, but they are complete opposite because of the character. Because that is what novel writing is. It is all about characters on a journey, because we are on that journey as well. We, as the reader, become the character. We put ourselves into the character's mind. Because what is reading? Reading is about learning about life. We want to learn the meaning of life. We want to go on the journey with other people and what they experience, what they learn, how they become a better person, or not. Maybe they become bad, but we learn from it. And that is what writing is. It is all about that final scene. And as a writer, you want to come up with something powerful, something that people are going to remember. Maybe it's someone dying. Maybe it's someone laughing. Maybe it's someone achieving freedom from a prison in their mind, maybe a real prison. But it's all about that final scene that sticks in people's minds. All's well that ends well. And now you want to go backwards, and you want to create scene after scene that will then justify the character's change, their arc. That will justify that final scene, just like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you've ever read the book or seen the movie, you will understand how powerful that final scene is, and how everything that happened at the beginning through the middle led to that one final moment at the end that left everybody standing and applauding. When you write a book, you want to think about that last scene and ask yourself, what do I now have to do to create power throughout the novel that's going to make that final scene memorable for anyone who reads it for decades on end? If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out my website. I'll leave a link in the description down below, where I have a ton of blogs and a ton of information that can help you become the greatest writer you can be. And if you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out my next video on why someone will give up on your novel halfway through and stop reading it. How can you stop that from happening? How can you get someone to read your novel from beginning to end and never put the book down? You know what? I'm going to leave a link for that video right here and you can start watching it right now.